Hi, my name is Bridie Nancy, which is my stage name. My real name is Bridie Anderson. I am a performing artist, which means I'm an actor, trained actor, and also a singer-songwriter. And I am what we would call a clinical social worker. So what that means is I'm qualified in social work at a degree level, as well as being skilled in counselling and therapy. And I'm also educated in terms of socio-political issues and social policy. So those things influence my work as an artist, and always actually have since I started writing songs. Even before I became a social worker, I always wrote songs about social justice issues. And equally, when I embark on a project, even if I'm choosing to be involved in an independent project, I like to be making an informed choice about my involvement in that project and whether I'm comfortable with messages, implicit and explicit, being sent out into the world. So that specifically is often around the question of the role of women and how women are being portrayed in a particular story, whether women are being portrayed as multidimensional human beings or as objects. So that's one of the things that's important to me. The other thing that's of great interest to me and a great passion of mine is the problem of violence in the world, of domestic violence, more specifically violence against women, but also of abusive communication in general. When I was studying social work in fourth year, years and years ago, I studied a subject called peace work in the community. And it was actually a subject about peace work in the world and how to work from a macro perspective and also from a micro perspective, how to work on conflict resolution, mediation, all of those sorts of things. And I'm a big believer in us all learning how to communicate assertively and how to notice and be self-aware enough about when we're getting triggered, we're getting upset, and potentially going to have a fight reaction to something which could lead to us being abusive in our manner of communicating, and in doing so becoming vilifying the other person or demonizing the other person. And I think that that's becoming and has become a big problem over the past decade or more of the development of the internet. We have trolls, but we also have a lot of very abusive conversations happening over the internet. So that's something I want to talk about on my channel. What is nonviolent communication? What does that look like? What should that look like in our relationships, our intimate relationships, our friendships? And it's not about being perfect, of course not, but it's about us having the self-awareness to examine where we're coming from personally, and also where the other person is coming from, knowing how to listen. It's also a lot to do with addressing the problem of projection, because abuse, psychological abuse, and all forms of abuse start with projection. They start with projecting onto the other person an image of the person which is objectifying and is not about who that person really is. And so I'd like to talk a lot more about that so that I can help those who are watching and who may not be aware of those early signs of abuse before we actually detect really more concerning and obvious signs of abuse and of violence and of verbally abusive communication, that we can actually detect those early warning signs of projection and see what we can do to address the situation before it gets out of hand, whether it be to check whether the other person is self-aware enough and has enough integrity to consider the fact that they're probably projecting onto us. Well, they are projecting, they're making us up, and equally to also decide where, well, this person doesn't have adequate insight or self-awareness, therefore I'm going to choose to disengage and walk away, because otherwise it's unhealthy for me to continue in this situation, in this exchange, and maybe in this friendship or this relationship. Okay, so that's enough for now, and I will be posting this video on YouTube and also starting to have this conversation on other platforms such as Instagram. Hi, me again. I forgot to say, please like and subscribe if you liked this video, which I hope you did if you watched it all the way to the end and you listened to me. And please share with others. Obviously, there's going to be a lot more videos to come from here on.